Everyone else logged in. As you can see now, there is a recording question. Again, feel free to turn off your camera if you do not want to be obviously recorded. But yeah. But I do encourage that you all turn on your cameras. We want to see those faces. But yeah, awesome. So we're at a good solid 30 right now. I do see another person connecting. So I'm gonna just give it about a minute or two more. And from there, I will go ahead and get started. But yeah, feel free to put in the chat how you're doing. I don't know, what's your favorite food? What's your favorite Bad Bunny song? Um, yeah. So I'm gonna give it about one more minute and then we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, everyone. Hello, hello. Hola todos. My name is Araceli Gonzalez, and I am a part of Lambda Theta Nu Sorority Incorporated, and I will be your MC for the night, so your Masters of Ceremony. Before we get started with the actual presentations, I just first and foremost wanted to thank everyone for being here. We have been putting a lot of hard work and dedication to bring this workshop to you all. So yeah, just again, if you're barely coming in, we are recording this session. We encourage that you all turn on your cameras if you can, but if you can't, we completely understand. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. The first thing that I'll do is something called the land acknowledgement. So we are on Indigenous land, so we want to honor that. So quickly, since the majority of us or we met through Sonoma State or are within Sonoma County, I want to mention that formally give this recognition to the Indigenous people known as the Coast Miwok and the Southern Pomo, and are now formally recognized as the Federated Indians of the Great Tin Rancheria. My apologies. So yes, we want to honor their ancestors, those present, as well as those for the future. Those for future generations. My apologies. Can you tell I'm a little nervous? Awesome. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get started with the first workshop being about navigating life after high school. So there's a two-part to this. The first one being options after high school and just sort of educating and bringing awareness to pathways that you can take. So I'll let the team lead that, and the presenters will give a formal introduction within their presentations just to save time. There will be time for breaks as well in between, short breaks, as well as sort of like a not a raffle, but like a drawing opportunity at the end as well. And then again, if you need anything, please take care of yourself. This is recorded at the end, so if you do have to leave early for whatever the case may be, or go grab a bite to eat, we completely understand. We want to make this, it is around dinner time, so we want to make this as accommodating as possible. So the first group, please feel free to take it away as soon as you see the presentation being shared.
Okay, so hi everyone. Can everyone hear me? Perfect. So the first presentation is navigating life after high school. So if we can go to the next slide. So this is kind of a rundown of the full presentation. So we'll go ahead and do presenters' introductions. We'll go over the high school experience, SSU experience, and then transfer experience. We really wanted to touch on our personal experience as presenters, as well as give general tips for each route we explain in this presentation. So the first one will be the presenter's introduction. So again, hi everyone, my name is Serena Cabrera. I'm a 4th year senior at Sonoma State University. I'm an applied stats major with a minor in biology and chemistry, and my goal is to be a family physician and to obtain a master's of public health to better serve low-income communities.
Hi everyone, my name is Jessica Zambrano. I'm actually a 5th year and I'll go into a little bit why I'm a 5th year later. I'm a graduating senior, so I'll be graduating next month. I am a sociology and criminology and criminal justice double major, and my career goal is to be a community college administrator, and my goal is to serve first generation low income and marginalized students within the community college system.
Hi everyone, my name is Maritza Perez. I'm a 4th year at Sonoma State. I'm actually a graduating senior. I'm part of the nursing class, so I'll be graduating in May. And my career goals are really to go back to school at some point for graduate education in healthcare, so either certified nurse midwife or family nurse practitioner, along with possibly a master's in public health. I'm really interested in giving back to my community and working with medically underserved communities specifically.
Hello, my name is Ali Soto, and I am a 5th year senior at the Santa Rosa Junior College. I'm majoring in psychology and sociology, and my career goal is to be a psychiatrist towards the end after med school.
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and start with the high school experience.
Okay, perfect. So my name is Ali, and I wanted to share some of my high school experiences. I think that for anybody who's graduating from high school, it's very hard for them to think of what they want to commit to education-wise. I remember that some of my struggles were being first generation. My mother didn't get a full education or a high school diploma. And so one of my biggest battles was thinking that my education would be a burden to my mother. And I think that getting my feet wet into volunteering or even asking school professionals what they were into or how they got to their careers got me involved into how I wanted to major in psychology when I went to the SRJC. So something that I would want to recommend anybody going into college or to the community college is to make an appointment either with your school, high school counselor, and make an appointment with a counselor at this Santa Rosa JC. Just so that if you don't know what you want to major in down the line, you can just get your first generation, I think it's general ed out the way. And then you can just, as long as along the way, you can start taking any courses that interest you, anything from art, floral, psychology. I really recommend, there's so many branches that you could work with psychology. I think I also recommend seeing if you have any disability or if you need any disability resources that the Santa Rosa Junior College can definitely give you and help you out with. Also apply to FAFSA, make sure that you look for ways to volunteer, see what kind of internships you can apply through Santa Rosa Junior College. Definitely take the time to research any possible certificate programs, or if you want a longer career like mine in psychology, where I want to be adult psychiatry, you can just see how long, how many years of schooling and what it takes to get into a career of that magnitude. I think that focusing and expanding your bilingual skills, I don't know if there's any of you guys that speak English or Spanish, or you might want to add a third language skill in there. I totally recommend that. There's so many things that you can do by having a second language. You know, there's also a higher pay if you also decide to have a second or third language. And I definitely recommend American Sign Language. It's a great language to learn. I think that going to college clubs, study groups, networking with your classes and making friends with other students to help yourself with any of your college work or any of your homework or anything that you may feel like you're falling behind. I think it's important that you network and that you also plan ahead. So I would advise that you make an appointment to see a counselor ahead of time, that you plan a semester or two ahead of time before joining a college, and that just so you get yourself grounded on what you would like to try. And if you don't know what you want to try yet, that's totally fine. Just get your general education out of the way.
Okay, so next will be our Sonoma State University experience.
All right, so like I said, my name is Maritza. I graduated from Pioneer High School, which is right here in Sonoma County, in May of 2017. I'm actually the first person in my family to graduate from high school and the first person to actually attend college. So I started at SSU straight out of high school in fall of 2017, and I knew throughout like my high school experience that I really wanted to do healthcare. So I entered SSU as a pre-nursing major and worked on completing my nursing prerequisites from the time I started all the way through spring of 2019. And the way that works, or that worked in terms of my process of getting into nursing school, during like the fall, the 2018-2019 school year, I was working on my nursing applications for nursing programs, not just at SSU, but at other campuses as well, because it is a fairly competitive career to get into. Luckily, I was accepted into the SSU nursing program, so I was able to stay right where I was from the beginning, and I'm actually graduating this May. One of the things that I wanted to touch on within this small blurb was just like how I actually funded my education. A lot of my funding personally came from scholarships. I didn't really qualify for a lot of the aid that was available through FAFSA. So that's something that I would encourage you to look into, both like local scholarships, scholarships that perhaps your high school offers, or also like scholarships available to you through whatever college campus you ultimately attend. And then my experiences in the program have been, in the nursing program specifically, have been really great. It's a really small class. It's only 24 people each time. So you really get to build a connection with everyone else in your class, and the professors really get to know you and are basically on a first name basis with you. Like they know who I am, which isn't necessarily the case when you attend a much larger program, where they just have a lot of students and can't really afford to give you as much time. And then the other big thing that has shaped my experience on campus has been involvement. I'm a part of MESA, which I will talk about a little bit later on in the presentation. And then I'm also a part of TRIO, and those have been huge supports to me while I've been in college. And I'm also the treasurer for a club and a variety of other experiences. So yeah.
Okay, so next is me. Of course, again, my name is Serena. So first and foremost, I am a sister of Lambda Theta Nu Sorority Incorporated, so I just wanted to mention that. So I graduated from Patterson High School in 2017. I entered Sonoma State in the fall of 2017 as a biology major, and at that time, Sonoma State's bio program was very impacted. So I am a pre-medical student, so I would like to go to medical school and become a doctor. I'm a first generation high school graduate and college student. Both of my parents did not receive a high school degree and had to drop out, unfortunately, at a very young age. And now, due to everything at Sonoma State, I actually decided to switch my major to applied statistics. I felt it was a better fit for me, as I really like statistics and being able to tutor it and be a mentor in regards to any other stats majors. And I have a minor in biology. So from SSU experience, I highly recommend getting involved. Not only am I a sister of Lambda Theta Nu Sorority Incorporated, if you see in the top right photo, I am also a part of MESA, like Maritza explained. So I am a MESA ambassador, MESA mentor, and a MESA honor student. Thankfully, MESA is a mathematics, engineering, science achievement. I'm also a founder and president of the club SACNA Seawolves at Sonoma State, which is a national student chapter of SACNAS. A couple other things, I'm transitioning president to be a Pi Mu Epsilon of the Mathematics Honor Society. And like I said, I can go on and on with, like, thankfully all the experiences I have made, or I've gotten at Sonoma State and all the connections I made at Sonoma State. So really just get involved. I also, my cat's behind me. um, so really get involved. You never know what connections you'll be able to make. I'm conducting research as well on public health and COVID in Sonoma County. And that actually got me a internship for the summer at Harvard School of Public Health. So really get involved, really make your connections, because this is the time to make the connections. And so, like I said earlier, I'm a pre-medical student, so I'm currently studying for my MCAT at the moment. I will be taking it in June, applying to med school in July, and then I will also be applying to master's programs in the fall because I am also a McNair scholar. And then I do plan to graduate in May of 22. And then like you see in the photos to the right, it's me holding up our Lambda symbol at our national conference, of course, pre-COVID. And then the little stethoscope because I want to be a doctor. So yeah.
All right, so Survival 101. This is really kind of tailored to the support that we have at SSU, but some of this is kind of transferable to any campus that you might be interested in. So financing college happens a lot through the FAFSA, which is basically the federal application that you fill out, and they're able to determine how much aid you can get from the government based on your parents' income. So I would definitely recommend that you fill that out. I believe the deadline was March 2nd, but even then you can still fill it out if you're interested in pursuing higher education, and making sure that you fill it out every year that you're in college. And if you need help with that, you can reach out to your high school counselor. You can also seek help from like the financial aid office at whatever campus you're interested in. And then the other part to that is also DACA, which is a way to support our undocumented students. So that's that. And then moving on to the next bullet point, which is really study strategies, which is huge when you're in college because it's very much independent. So it's not like you'll have people kind of on your back telling you to get things done. It's very much up to you to develop good study habits and to really take the time to find out how you learn as a student. And kind of tying into that would be making sure that you go to office hours if you need to. So getting to know your professors. And then another big part of that is also perhaps developing study groups where you can share notes and study with peers who are taking the same courses as you. And then some of the on-campus resources that are available at SSU include TRIO Student Support Services, or TRIO SSS. That's a federally funded program. It provides support for people who are first generation, low income, and or have a recorded disability. They do writing tutoring, math tutoring. They also do like general college support. So if you need help with like time management skills, or if you're struggling with test anxiety, they have a way to support you with those challenges as well. Personally have been super helpful for me. I've gotten help from them to write scholarship essays. They help me write my applications for nursing school. So it's a great way, it's a great support system. And then we have MESA, which is Mathematics, Engineering, and Science Achievement. It's really geared for helping students in STEM succeed, and they offer advising and ways to get funded for research if that's something that you're interested in, even providing mentorship programs, as Sabrina said that she's a part of. So that's another great support system. Then you have the LARC, which is the Learning and Academic Resource Center, and they have tutors for basically any subject that's in the state, and you can go ahead and book appointments and get help in your classes. And then the Writing Center is very much tailored to helping you with all sorts of writing. So like, you know, essays for your English class and resumes and cover letters and that sort of thing. And then the last bullet point is really getting involved with college culture. So both Serena and myself have talked about getting involved with clubs and organizations that you're interested and passionate about. And then also Greek life.
Yeah, so just adding on a little bit of what Maritza said about this slide. So going with Greek life, of course, like I said, I'm a sister of Lambda Theta Nu. So Greek life is definitely a whole other world. I want to say on campus, it has Lambda Theta Nu, what's done for me is just I've gained such a big sisterhood. Like I don't have any blood sisters, so having my sisters become my best friends and my mentors. We are a national organization where we have sisters in different states everywhere. So thankfully, Greek life is pretty prevalent on Sonoma State's campus, and we really want to of course, keep that up and keep those connections. We really try to keep Greek unity in our council, which is the Multicultural Sorority and Fraternity Council. So we really try to keep the Greek unity and keep the connections, and then in our own organization, keep the connections with our sisters. Or brothers if you're in fraternity. But also I did want to add on to FAFSA. I am a student who heavily relies on FAFSA as a first generation college student, like I mentioned earlier. I do come from a low income family, so I wouldn't be able to attend college without my FAFSA and without the grants and loans that I actually receive. So I highly, highly recommend going off of what Marita said to apply. Even if it's late, just still apply. There could be money everywhere like that. And then the Learning and Academic Resource Center is for SSU is home of the Writing Center, the tutorial program, and supplemental instruction. I am a statistics tutor there. So they have different, like they tutor for 50 plus subjects. So it's a really good resource to really start as a first year. I mean, if you start as a second year, it's perfectly fine, but just really get involved and really take advantage of all of the resources that Sonoma State has if you choose to go to Sonoma State. Like we said, like Maritza said, this is prevalent to other campuses and other CSUs and other schools and universities. So really take advantage of all the resources you have at your respective university and just build those connections. And then next we will have the transfer experience.
Hi everyone. So like I mentioned, my name is Jessica Zambrano. I'm also a sister of Lambda Theta Nu Sorority Incorporated. So my pathway as a transfer student is different in many aspects, as you'll see. So I actually came in through education through alternative education. So originally I was supposed to graduate from Rancho Cayuga High School in 2014. I then transferred to a continuation high school because I was a troubled child. And then I eventually dropped out of there and I tried doing independent study due to work responsibilities. So I was actually working 3 jobs and trying to go to high school at the same time. That did not work. I ended up dropping out. Family things happened, life happened. I ended up in foster care, and in foster care is when I was introduced to Gateway to College Academy. So Gateway to College Academy is it's a dual enrollment high school. So it's actually within the SRJC campus. So I was able to gain high school credits and finish up my high school diploma at the same time. So the picture there is me and my boyfriend. Sorry, I couldn't find a picture of just myself from that graduation at my Gateway to College graduation in 2016. After 2016, I continued at Santa Rosa Junior College. I stayed there until 2018. The picture below that is a picture from my graduation from SRJC. I actually graduated from SRJC with 3 associate degrees. I got an associate's in science and natural sciences, an associate's of arts for transfer in sociology, and an associate's of arts in social and behavioral sciences. I then went ahead and transferred to Sonoma State in fall 2018. And as I mentioned, I'm going to be graduating from Sonoma State in 2021. And so that's kind of what my transfer experience looks like. However, I would like to touch a little bit on the actual transfer experience. So at SRJC, specifically, I'm any community college really, but I'm going to talk about specifically SRJC, 1, because it's our local one, 2, because that's where I attended, and I actually work there as well. I work as a program specialist for the MESA program, as Serena and Maritza both talked about. So we also have a MESA program at the community college level, and it's actually focused on transferring MESA students. So we really work really closely with the Sonoma State MESA program, because our transfer students essentially go to become MESA students at Sonoma State or at any CSU or UC system that has a MESA program. And basically, before I did that, I also worked in the admissions office, so I know the ins and outs of a lot of SRJC's programs and certificates and degrees. With that being said, I wanted to touch a little bit on, if we can get to the next slide, I want to touch a little bit on why to transfer. So for example, I transferred one because I'm a first generation college student. There is a lot of financial aid offered at the community college level for first generation low income students. There is something called the California Community College Promise Grant, which essentially, if you qualify for it, it's based on your parents' income. And if you qualify for it, basically your tuition is completely covered and it's waived. So on top of that, any type of Pell Grant or Cal Grant, any type of other types of financial aid that we will talk about a little bit later on in the presentations, will go straight into your pocket and it's all for you. So within community colleges, you could also study abroad, which is really fun. We have programs that can go to Italy. We have programs that go into Costa Rica. We have really interesting study abroad programs, and you can also get those funded through financial aid. So a new start, I said that just because I come from alternative education, so I wanted to start somewhere in which I felt comfortable. A lot of times, students aren't or don't feel prepared to go straight from high school to a four-year university, and that's completely okay. That's what community college is here for. And even if you are prepared, it like my next bullet point is save money. You can really save a lot of money by going to a community college first. There is a stigma amongst community colleges that I really wanted to address as well. A lot of people or schools in general, I've seen counselors, I've seen community members really say like, oh, the JC is not for good students. There is a stigma of, if you had bad grades in high school, you go to the JC because you couldn't get into any high schools, et cetera, which I really want to debunk, because the JC has tons of resources for all students, not to mention that you can get your four-year degree and still have it be a lot cheaper. Essentially, you would do your first 2 years, which we talked about, basically your GE, which is your general education. I know I'm using a lot of terminology, so if you have any questions, please type them in the chat and I'll do my best to address them. But your GE is essentially like the English, the math, the history, the science, all those fun basic courses that you have to do in order to get your bachelor's or an associate's degree. So you can actually do those at the JC at a much lower rate than you would at a four-year university. Hence, where it comes to save money, because you're still getting financial aid, but if you're getting it waived or if you're paying a lot less, for example, 12 units at Sonoma State is about $4,000. 12 units at the JC is about $600. So you can see kind of the difference of the pricing, and you're still going to be getting financial aid. So that allows you to really save your money for when you get to a four-year university, which tends to be a lot pricier. You're able to have the finances to support your education. We also have transfer agreements. It's called TAG. They're called tags, which essentially means that you can go to the SRJC and you can have a transfer admission guarantee to whatever university you choose to. So I know different community colleges have them, but the JC specifically has some with UC Davis. There is some with UC Merced. There is some with UC San Diego. So essentially you can say, I want to go to that school. And as long as you take the courses that they're required for you to take and you get passing grades, you're guaranteed to get into those schools. Also, by going to community college, your likelihood of getting accepted to more schools is higher, because you now have college credit and a college GPA, which means you're not going to be held to the standards of your high school transcript, which could be really helpful as well. So also there's smaller class sizes. So SRJC in specific, their ratio to classes is about highest 30-35 per class, unless you're in like a really big lecture hall, which is a really big difference compared to some universities in which you'll be in lecture halls with up to 100 students. So going straight out of high school, in which you're used to being in a classroom with 20-25 students, to going to a 100 student lecture hall could be a really big impact for some students. And so the JC allows that transfer to be smoother. So, we're community college, we do transfer. That's kind of like what I'm getting in as to with this smaller class sizes. Also, you get to gain maturity and you get to earn an associate's degree on your way there. So like I said, I'm going to be getting my bachelor's degree this year, and I'm graduating not only with a bachelor's degree, but I also have 3 associate degrees in different fields that allowed me to get my job now. So those really helps me to get in my careers, and I'll go into a little bit on the next slide. But it also helps you, you know, you get more choices, you get more time to explore yourself, what you like, what you don't like. For sometimes students might think they want to be a doctor, but you know, you take one of your bio classes or your chemistry classes and you're like, maybe this isn't for me. So the GC gives you an opportunity to really explore yourself, get to know yourself, and get to know different career opportunities. Can we go to the next slide, please? Great. So I also wanted to touch on career technical education. So CTE is short for career technical education. So I put some statistics on here just because right now our career technical degrees are on the rise, because as you can see in the slide, it says most CTE programs can be completed in as short as 1 year. And there is actually a few programs that you can complete in as short as 9 months. So some people may think like, what? And you don't need a bachelor's degree? No, you don't need a bachelor's degree. Specifically for career technical education, to get a certificate in different types of careers, you only need to take courses that pertain to that specific area of study. For example, I put some examples. You can be an X-ray technician, you can be a medical assistant, auto mechanic, phlebotomist, and the list goes on and on. These are just some ideas so you can kind of get an idea of what it looks like. And the job likelihood statistics speak for themselves, right? So we do have institutional research that puts together these numbers. So we have 1.7 million jobs for those with career certificates in California. 27% of technical careers pay more than jobs requiring a bachelor's degree. 50% of STEM jobs do not require a bachelor's degree. 60% of hardest to fill positions are technical careers. So I kind of just want to give this perspective because I feel like there tends to be like a really harsh stigma of you have to go to school, you have to go to school, you have to go to school. And then sometimes you'll think like, I can't do anything without a bachelor's degree, but there is other options. So I just wanted to put this on here. SRJC, their website is really informational. So if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them at the end of the presentation. But like as Maritza said, a certified nursing assistant, CNA, is also a career technical education. A lot of these salaries, you know, they start really high. So it's just so you kind of have a perspective of you have other options that don't necessarily require you to get a bachelor's degree. But I'm here to support you. I want to say, if you want to get a bachelor's degree, go get that bachelor's degree. If you want to get an associate's degree, get that associate's degree. If you want to get into a trades and get go into the technical career education, you know, go for it. I just really wanted to give you options and show you that, you know, the 4-year path is not the only path. There is different paths.
Okay, so yes, like my sister Jessica said, we really did this presentation to, of course, it was after high school or life after high school. So we really just wanted to touch on the different pathways and that it's your story, it's your life, you know, there's no just one road that you need to follow. There's gonna be some things that, you know, take you off the road, and that's perfectly okay. It's just whatever you would like to do, whether you want to go 4-year, just exactly what my sister said. It's completely okay. You're gonna get somewhere, so you know. But we just want to say thank you for listening to our presentation, and if you have any questions, please feel free to unmute, or you can also put it in the chat. So we'll just take a couple minutes if anyone has any questions.
Thank you all. Any questions? I will also be putting an email. Let's say you can't think of one right now, but you want to give one later. This is an email you can contact, and if you have any questions to anyone within any presentations, we will definitely be, you can reach out and you'll get connected during the right, to the right person. Daphne, I do see your hand.
Yeah, I have a quick question. I know someone mentioned that they were like a McNair scholar, and I just looked that up, but I have no clue what it is. So I was wondering if someone can explain that.
Yeah, definitely. So, of course, like I said, my name's Serena. So I am a McNair scholar. So I'm blanking on the name. It's like Ronald McNair Collegiate Program. I apologize. I can't remember the exact name of the full program. It's a little long. But McNair, being a McNair scholar at Sonoma State, so only 25 to 27 students are chosen to be in this position. So you do have to apply. You do have to be a junior or third year or obtaining like more than 60 units, I believe, to apply for this program. And so, like I said, it's pretty prestigious since only 25 to 27 students do get into this program. So this program really helps you if you are interested in obtaining a master's program or a master's degree or a PhD degree. I personally want to obtain a master's of public health, so I felt this program would help me better. So basically, there's a couple of requirements for being in this program. So once you're in, as you can see in the website, it will show like the if you qualify. And so it's more towards those in minority and things like that. So once you're in this program, they really help you with applications. They help you with applications to these grad programs. They help you with applications to research programs, because to get into a master's or PhD programs, highly recommend research. And so thankfully, being a McNair scholar, after I conduct research like I'm doing right now this semester, and you could do this across any disciplines. You don't have to be a STEM major. There's people who are psych majors. There's people that are different types of majors, and they're still in this program because they want to obtain a master's or PhD. So when you obtain research, you at the end of the semester or at the end of the year, the school year, you become a published author. So your research will be in the McNair journal, and all these students, including myself, we become published authors for our research. So that's really a benefit that we have against other applicants that are applying to master's and PhD, because as an undergraduate, I'm 21 years old, I'm a fourth year, and I'm already going to be a published author by the end of this semester. So it's a really nice program. They also have helped me apply to like the research opportunity that I explained earlier that I'll be going to, though it's virtual, I'll be conducting research with Harvard, the School of Public Health. So they help you with that. Really, they're just a resource there. They really guide you your junior year, your senior year, and unfortunately, you do get a stipend to be in this program. You get paid for completing these requirements. And so in MESA as well, you also get a stipend for completing, like if you're a mentor, if you're an honor student, you get a stipend, so you get paid for this. And so it's a really great opportunity. McNair, MESA, everything. So if you have any questions, like my sister Ada said, just put in the LFES to email, and then I can go further into each program as well. But I hope that helped. And the website is also in the group chat, as my sister put in the group chat.
Thank you. And I was wondering if I can ask another quick question, if that's possible. Okay, this might be like a stupid question, but I don't know like the answer to it. But I think you said that you're applying to medical school, but you're also applying to your master's. So I was kind of confused. I thought your master's went right after your bachelor's, or I was wondering if you can explain that process.
Yeah, no worries. So I'm a non-traditional student, of course. I'm an applied stats major. So I'm kind of, though I'm studying for my MCAT, because normally traditional students are bio majors, biochemistry, things like that, going straight into medical school right after undergraduate. So basically, since I want to obtain a master's of public health and a doctor of osteopathic medicine, being a McNair scholar, I have to also apply to 6 different master's programs. That's a part of my requirements of being a McNair scholar as well, on top of the research, on top of things like that. So I have to apply to 6 different programs. And when I was accepted into McNair, I was accepted as a master's of public health candidate. So though I will be applying and taking my MCAT in June and applying to medical school in July, I'm also planning to see if I can get into a master's program. So basically next year, I will really make the decision of wherever I get accepted to. Unfortunately, like medical school is very, very, very competitive, especially during these times of COVID as well. So, I'm kind of just throwing my dice, seeing where it lands, and really hoping. I'm preparing for both. And I know, like, even if I go the master's route, I would go to medical school after that. Or if I go straight into medical school, they have dual degree programs of being a doctor and obtaining a master's of public health. And then there's also post-bac programs that get you into medical school right after being an undergraduate. So there's so many different pathways, but I know like in the end, I will obtain both a Doctor of Osteopathic Medicine degree and a Master's of Public Health. So it doesn't matter if you go master's first or medical school and then do a dual degree, or medical school and then a master's. It's really just different pathways that you choose. And yeah, it really just depends where you kind of want to go and things like that.
That makes more sense now. Thank you for that.
No problem.
Any other questions? Okay, so hearing none, feel free again to send that email and I'll be sending it. I know it can sometimes get lost in the chat, or feel free to put your questions in the chat as you think about it, so we can get to them as well. Okay, so I'm going to, just due to time, feel free to take a mini break on your own if you need to step away for a little bit, but we will be jumping into the next presentation. So moving on. The next presentation is Navigating Life After High School Part 2. So this is the reality of higher education. And we'll go ahead and get started. And again, feel free to put your questions in the chat and we'll get to them.
Okay, so as you can read by the title, our presentation will be on the reality of higher education. So overall, our presentation is going to encompass more of the life in college. So like resources, personal stories, and also financial aid resources and information, and just overall be very real about what it means to be in college, and not even just college, but receiving a higher education. Okay, so we're going to start off with our presentations as well. And I'm going first. So if we can go to the next slide. So my name is Natalia Zavala. I am a first generation Latina. I'm the oldest daughter. So if any of you are first or the oldest sibling, you know that comes with a lot of pressure and responsibility. I graduated at Sonoma Valley High School in 2018. So I'm currently a junior at Sonoma State, majoring in sociology with a minor in Spanish. And I just declared a criminal justice minor also, because I had the opportunity to. I am also the president of the Multicultural Sorority and Fraternity Council, which I think in the last presentation someone mentioned it. And a little bit about that, it's at SSU, we have three councils within the sorority and fraternity life. And we are, Lambda Theta Nu are a part of the Multicultural Sorority and Fraternity Council, since we are a Latina sorority, or Latina based. And then one more thing that I added, but I think that this presentation was before we added it, but I do currently work for Sonoma Overnight Support, which is the homeless shelter here in Sonoma, and I am their resource specialist. So we'll be tying in that into some other resources that my sister will talk about later.
Hi everyone, my name is Jamila Shimi, and I am also a sister of Lambda Theta Nu Sorority Incorporated. And a little bit about me is I am a first gen, and I'm also the first of my siblings to attend university. I'm the youngest sibling, but I am the first out of the bunch to go to university. And then I am a 2018 Technology High School graduate here from Roanoke Park. And I am a third year at Sonoma State. I'll be graduating next spring, May 2022. And I am a double major in anthropology and American multicultural studies. And then I'm also vice president of fraternal affairs of the Multicultural Sorority and Fraternity Council that my sister Natalia just mentioned.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Montse Salas. I am a first generation university graduate student from Sonoma State. So I graduated this past May. I received a BA degree in sociology with honors and distinctions, along with a BA in liberal studies with honors and distinctions. Currently, right now, I am an AmeriCorps Vista member and I work with the city of Santa Rosa and Sonoma State University under the community engagement sector. I am also a Latino service provider youth promoter lead. And a fun fact about me, I am trilingual and I enjoy what the world has to offer via traveling. I have lived in South Korea and studied in China, which is why I'm trilingual.
Hi everyone, my name is Maria Reina. I am a first child of 6 to attend a university. I am the eldest daughter. I am a wonderful college prep academy, graduate in 2017, and I'm a fourth year at SSU majoring in psychology with a minor in biology and art.
Hello everyone, my name is Crystal. So I'm a first generation college student. I'm the eldest daughter of 2. And then I'm graduating, as well as my sister said earlier, from wonderful College Prep Academy that's located in the Central Valley. I graduated in 2016. I'm going to be a graduating senior this May, and then my majoring is in pre-law philosophy and political science with a minor in criminology. And a fun fact about me is I have 18 different types of animals.
Okay, and to start off, we wanted to put, numbers always put things into perspective. So we found that only 57 of people with bachelors are women. So, over the course of the years, we have luckily and, with hard work, we've been able to raise that number up. And sorry. And then 10% of those bachelors are identified as Latinos with bachelors, 19% of Latinas with a college degree, 53% of women who earned a doctoral degree, and then 58 who earned a master's degree. So these numbers, luckily, some of, like I said, are a little bit over 50%. But like, for example, the percentage for Latinos is still very low, and which is why we're touching a lot on what it means to be in higher education. And a lot of us that are giving this presentation do identify as Latinas. So it's very, we're an example of what we're trying to achieve within a bigger population.
Hi everyone again. So we'll start with the definition, defining actually what is higher education. So the definition is any post-secondary education or training that eventually will lead to an industry recognized certificate or license, or it could also be an associate's degree or higher. So here we have different types of schools. As earlier presenters have said, we have vocational and technical schools. We also have 2-year colleges and 4-year universities. And with the higher education, one thing I wanted to touch base on is for vocational schools and technical schools, these schools teach career-specific skills necessary for a particular job. So these program lengths actually vary, and these schools sometimes only offer degrees. For 2-year colleges, we have associate's degrees as well as select certificate programs. Students who usually start a 2-year college certificate can eventually transfer to a 4-year university. And within education, higher education is more than classroom instruction. It is a holistic journey that explores the facets of individuality, perseverance, and skill. In a fast-changing society where technology is developing and currently changing and business is growing, there's a lot of things happening within the environment and politics. So higher education, it's beautiful because it prepares individuals to meet these challenges with grit and resilience, and also gives you the opportunity to become a well-rounded individual.
So a couple ways that we highlighted on how to advocate is by asking questions. So in order to learn, we must ask questions and solve pending uncertainties. So this goes for everything in higher education and life. When you have a question and you get it answered. Sorry, the chat always messes me up a little bit, but going back to it, yeah. Getting your questions answered will then prompt you to be knowledgeable yourself and then be able to, hence the next one, educate others. So passing on that knowledge that you have acquired. Other ways to advocate are by having conversations. So having a conversation with another person that might not necessarily, agree with you or have a different viewpoint doesn't mean that you're end up in an argument. Discussions and conversations are very important to have, and they could lead to changes. Another way to advocate is, to simply make the change yourself. This doesn't have to be a big act. Little things like stepping up for someone, speaking about something, things that you incorporate in your day-to-day life can be ways to advocate. Another way is by building allies. So a way in which I have an example is like if you have a friend who's not necessarily, like I have friends that are not Latinas, but them being there to support or going with me to certain events or, them themselves educating the people around them, that's building an ally, and that ally will be able to advocate um, for you essentially. And then the last one, believing in yourself. So this is very hard, especially as Latina women, and it's specifically at Sonoma State, we're a little bit underrepresented sometimes, but it's important to believe in yourself and check the privilege that you have to be in the position that you're at. Some people are not, as fortunate to be able to receive higher education or to have that power of like, or that self confidence to step out of their comfort zone and speak up. So when you believe in yourself and you are able to overcome that fear, you're able to advocate and show what you can offer.
So here we have some resources that are within Sonoma County, and if you are also within the Bay Area, there will be more on the resource fair, which is this Thursday, but here's just a few. So we have CalFresh, and essentially CalFresh is if you are in the CSU system and through your financial aid with FAFSA, you can qualify for a grocery card that can help pay for groceries. And then the Redwood Empire Food Bank. And then there's the Petaluma Health Center, and there's also a Roanoke Park Health Center as well, which can help with people who, if you do not necessarily have insurance, or if you have like Covered California, they can situate you and get you any medical needs necessary. There is Social Advocates for Youth, which is in Santa Rosa, and they help youth up into individuals in their 20s with mental health and resources pertaining to such. And then there is the Dream Center at Santa Rosa Junior College. However, the Dream Center, you can find it on multiple campuses as well, not necessarily just Santa Rosa Junior College, and they help with DACA recipients and their application pertaining to that. And then there is Clinica, which is in San Francisco. However, essentially they help individuals who do not have insurance, or if they are undocumented, they will help you with any medical procedures, checkups necessary. Everyone who works with Clinica, they are volunteer doctors, nurses, and medical students who are donating their time to help the community. And then if you need a referral for anything further, they will help you accordingly. It is important to have some of these resources and kind of have them in the back of your mind, especially now more than ever with COVID, and especially with health and a lot of unforeseen circumstances. You never really know what can come in the future, and just where life will take you essentially. So just knowing these resources will definitely be a staple to help you out in the future.
And then, oh, sorry. We wanted to add one last resource. I'm just plugging in my job because like my sister mentioned, right now during COVID, there's a lot of like new resources that weren't offered before COVID. For example, excuse me, my job, Sonoma Overnight Support, we currently are catering by making meals for not even just homeless, but low income people that in Sonoma County. And then that's something that just started, and it's something that anyone is able to use. So like Jamila mentioned, you know, Clinica might not be at Sonoma County, but it's a resource that all around like anyone can use, and it's available and resourceful. And then yeah.
And then next, essentially the best way to advocate for yourself, especially after high school, is to advocate for yourself. The best way to get advocacy for yourself is to advocate for yourself. And a really good way to do that is to get involved. There is a way that I recommend and that has helped me a lot is through fraternity and sorority life. Being a Lambda has helped me in so many ways imaginable for my undergrad experience, and I could not imagine my undergrad experience without it. Mecha is another good opportunity and educational opportunity program. EOP, they have a lot of resources for applying for any resources needed, or registering for classes, or advising. Jump and student involvement in associated students, which is essentially student government and running for positions such as like president and stuff like that. It's a great way to create a voice for yourself and for your community, especially as like Latinas. We are an underrepresented community, especially in Sonoma County and Sonoma State. And so it's a great way to it's a great way to create advocacy for yourself. And then all of the resources that I have on the slide, they say Sonoma State, but really you can find them on any university, CSU or UC campus. They do not pertain solely just to Sonoma State.
Real quick, I do see that we have a question just because the hand is raised. Madonna, if I'm not mistaken, the floor is yours.
Hi, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Another resource not mentioned is Sonoma County Indian Health Project in Santa Rosa, California. So if you do have healthcare insurance, they do take non-native clients, and they have a full range of behavioral health, dental, and they offer free vegetable drive-through. You get a box of vegetables, organic from local. Also, my agency is called Disability Services and Legal Center. So if you do have a disability, you identify with the disability, we do have many resources. We have been giving out Chromebooks to people, and the Native American and like Chicano, Mexican, they were very underserved before I came into the agency. And then also the Department of Rehab. So if you identify with disabilities, that is another resource that they have a ton of money. So I am not in a wheelchair, but I have many invisible disabilities, and I take full advantage of that. I wanted to share those, and I'll have my daughter help me and put that into the chat. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so going on, we're going to be talking about scholarships and grants. Okay, so the first thing to know about scholarships is basically scholarships are financial aid awards designed to help students to pay for undergraduate degree. Scholarships can sometimes come like at a one time, so they only offer it to you once, like in one semester, or they can be lifelong. For example, due to my high school wonderful college prep academy, I actually have a scholarship for the whole time that I'm in my undergraduate program, along with my sister Maria. So how it works, basically you have to apply. It consists of an easy process. Sometimes they have you write essays, sometimes you have to submit like your grades. It could depend on like your family's financial situation. And even if you're accepted or denied, I would say just to continue applying, because you never know what scholarship you're going to get if you don't try. So if accepted, then you're awarded that money. It automatically goes to your financial aid office. And or sometimes they give it to you, like if you win like an essay, sometimes they'll give you like a check or a visa, and then it'll be awarded, like I stated, in your financial aid office. If you're denied, just apply for another scholarship. Keep pushing forward. So I added some useful sites. So the first one is just a basic scholarship. You search up some criteria that you can meet, and then different scholarships pop up. There's also the Air Force. So if some of you might know that if you join the military, you serve a certain amount of time and then they pay for your school fully. The Air Force does as well, just because there's different paths to get through education. And then lastly is another scholarship research, just anything. You can even search up on your Google tab or Chrome, whatever you have, scholarships available. And scholarships can also happen when you're in high school as well. So there's no, you don't have to wait till you're in college. You can start applying now. And now we're going to talk about grants. So grants are basically similar to scholarships, but they work a little bit differently. So grants come from the financial aid, and they usually does not get repaid. So grants is free money given to you by the government, based again on like your financial situation, if you meet certain criteria. So this can go, and the thing about grants is sometimes scholarships are just for specific things like tuition, and grants can be for tuition, your room, your boarding, your books, your supplies. It just depends on like the different criteria. So there's 4 types of federal grants. So there's a Pell Grants for students who demonstrate economic needs, and then there's different Pell Grants within that. Then there's federal supplementary education opportunities. So those are for students who need like an extra financial help. Then we also have an Iraq and Afghanistan service grant, which is for students whose parents or guardians died due to military reasons, deployment in Iraq. Then we have teacher educational assistance for college students in higher education. So that's known as the TEACH grant. And that helps for students who want to go into get their credentials or want to go into a teacher pathway. And then, like stated above, Pell Grants are most commonly awarded through grants, and the qualifications may vary. So then there's state and school grants. Like for example, our Sonoma State School provides the SSU scholarship program, and we also have a specific SSU scholarship that we give. There's also the CARES Act. So the CARES Act was a grant as well given due to the pandemic, and it was to help low-income students just because it's been a hard time. Then there's private grants, like certain philanthropies offer private grants, professional associations, corporations, things like that. So these are just like different aspects in where you can get your grants. And then any scholarships websites we can look at. Like I stated earlier, you can just go into the search toolbox and then just look up scholarships. I don't really have a specific website just because my situation was a little different. However, I know that if anybody does, I'll put it in the chat for you, Stephanie.
Hi, everyone. So we will be talking now about balancing higher education. So some of the challenges faced in higher education include lack of knowledge about, coming and having a college experience. There's also guilt, which is leaving family behind to attend college far from home. And this is not easy for anyone. This can often lead to feelings of homesickness and loneliness. We also have a challenge of finances and social life. We also have the lack of support from home. Sometimes this means lack of support from family and friends at home can often make students feel abandoned and without encouragement. But there are many programs at schools to help fill these needs for first-generation college students. And then other challenges faced in higher education include feeling there's no sense of belonging in campus or not fitting in. Before I go ahead and talk about the tips, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you a little bit about my background. So, for my personal story, in middle school, I was told that, my chances for attending a university were slim. And that was because at that time, my test scores, kind of determined what my schedule of classes would look like. I was actually placed in all sheltered classes because I was a troubled youth. And I never really had the opportunity to choose any electives until I was in high school. Um, so at age 14, I actually, began working at my local school's cafeteria. And I remember my dad specifically opened a savings account so that I could start depositing those paychecks. So I found myself working and, realizing pretty soon that if I wanted to go to attain actually higher education, then I would have to work. I wanted to be involved in school within the community. I also wanted to get out of shelter classes and, like take on honor courses. So all doing that on top of actually having, to come home and having to take care of my siblings before parents got home, all those responsibilities kind of amounted to me, made me feel a little bit, well, actually, I felt challenged because, I had to balance essentially my school and my personal life. But with the help of mentors and reaching out through wonderful teachers, I was able to push myself. And these are all valid feelings, going into higher education, you don't know what's it going to look like. Everyone's journey is unique, but determination is there. And with the right reaching out support, you can certainly do a lot. And so I will speak a little bit right now about tips for balancing higher education. Um, so my first point, as you can see on the slide, is health. And this means paying attention to your health and take care of yourself. Just listen to your body. Take five. Take a moment each day to relax and do something you enjoy if you're feeling overwhelmed or exhausted. My second sub point is the social life. Plan on finding activities after school that make you feel happy, but also don't feel bad for having to prioritize your work or other events at certain times. Like, this is perfectly normal. My third point would be prioritizing yourself. And by this, I mean just love yourself and enjoy yourself. It's okay to be selfish sometimes. Putting yourself first starts you down the right path to success and happiness. And also be open to being uncomfortable. And the reason why I say this is because this is how you will grow and even welcome new opportunities that will come to you in later life.
So this is the time that after this presentation you get to think why. The why basically is like why you here, what's your motivation, what do you believe. The how is like your process, like take specific actions, think of specific actions that help you achieve your why and realize your motivation, your beliefs, your values, whatever it might be. And then the what, what do you do? The result of the why, the proof. Like really take that into consideration when um, you want to pursue higher education and you are just like wondering if you lose motivation in a class or something. Like do your why. Like why am I here? What's your motivation, your beliefs? Why can I keep going? So I would suggest do that. And whenever you lose motivation or any other time you feel self-doubt.
So here's a personal story, a little about my story with balancing higher education and work. I've been working consistently since I was 16, and I never really had the option to not work to focus on school. If I from the start of college, I knew that if I want to go to school, I have to work as well. Like I'm essentially funding my own education, and I was working smaller jobs until the pandemic hit, and that's when I got my first like professional adult job. I have been working as a preschool teacher since September of 2020. And it is a challenge, definitely, because I do work full time. I work in education while also trying to obtain my own education. So it's definitely a challenge at times, but I have learned to manage my time and communicate my needs with professors, and essentially advocating for myself and like learning to not be ashamed that if you do need an extension for an assignment, like that is okay. And it is okay to reach out to professors and communicate what is going on personally with you. There definitely is a stigma that you can't do that, and that it's not doable, but it definitely is doable. And balancing professional work and school definitely proved my resilience, and anything is possible if you put your mind to it. There's definitely also a stigma that you can only work or do school full time and you cannot do both. It's too much, but it is doable. My story definitely is a common one. A lot of individuals do work, whether it be full-time, part-time, and they are also trying to obtain a higher education. They are funding their own education, but it is definitely doable.
And with that, we're done with our presentation. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them now. Ada will be sending like this whole workshop, I guess, or workshops in the email, but we're here to answer any questions.
Any questions, anyone? Feel free to put them in the chat or raise your hand. We will be taking a break after this because I know it's been a bit. Okay, so I'm not hearing any again. Feel free to put them in the chat if you think of anything, or email, you know, that Gmail. But yes, okay, so we're gonna take a quick 5-minute break. So at 5:20, we'll be starting our next presentation, and then we'll be doing the raffle after that. Not raffle, like the little wheel of names for some gift cards. So take a 5-minute break and we'll be right back. Okay, everyone, welcome back. Again, highly encouraged to turn on your cameras. Sorry, I'm moving all over the place. Okay. It was a quick bathroom break. Okay, awesome. So we're gonna go ahead and all the presenters for the last presentation, y'all here? Good? Awesome. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get started with the last presentation of the night. Once again, thank you all for being here. So the last presentation, go ahead and I believe, Gabriela, you were doing the introduction, so take it away.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for being here. So we'll be talking to you guys about why Latinos don't talk about mental health. And before we run through a few exercises, I think some introductions are in order. So my name is Gabriela Flores. I am a senior at Pioneer High School, and I am working alongside LSP, Latino Health Service Providers. So yeah.
Awesome. So each of us will be doing our introductions. So my name is, and Gabriela's picture's in the next one, so you all get to see her beautiful face again. My name is Araceli Gonzalez. I am a graduating senior at Sonoma State. I am a sister of Lambda Theta Nu Sorority Incorporated. I'm a psych major with a Spanish minor. And fun fact, I love to go on drives. Jasmine.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jasmine Rodriguez. I am a third year at Sonoma State. I am majoring in American Multicultural Studies. And I know it seems kind of vague. Essentially, it's comparative ethnic studies. That's what I do. And then a fun fact about me is that one time in high school, I fed a hyena at the Oakland Zoo before. And it was through my program called not EOP, I'm sorry, Upward Bound, which is a trio program.
Hello, my name is Christina Palacios. I am a graduating senior at Montgomery High School. My future major is biology, and a fun fact about me is I have gone backpacking for 2 weeks to the High Sierra Nevadas.
Jasmine.
Hi guys, my name is Jasmine. This is my first year at the Santa Rosa JC. I'm part of the Latino Service Providers. I'm a youth promotora, and then I'm majoring in psychology, and my favorite color is green.
And then Gabriela, you can go ahead and let them know who you are and further.
Hi again. So that's my picture there. My future major will be in molecular environmental biology at UC Berkeley. And a fun fact about me is my favorite flowers are peonies because I think they're very beautiful.
Hi everyone, I'm Jocelyn Villalobos and I'm a junior at Santa Rosa High School, and a fun fact is that I play in a mariachi and I'm with Latino service providers, and I'm a youth promotora.
All right, so before we get started, I just wanted to talk about a survey that we will be having at the end of this presentation. So it's just to collect some thoughts regarding your experiences while listening to these amazing presentations. And we just want to hear your feedback, and we'd appreciate it if you guys just take a few minutes to fill it out. So with that, to get started, we will be taking you through a breathing exercise, also known as a grounding exercise. So maybe just adjust yourself into a comfortable seating position. And I'll give you guys a few seconds to do that. Okay, so what I want you guys to do is you guys are welcome to have your cameras off or on, or however you would like to do this, whatever makes you comfortable. To breathe in for 4 seconds, then breathe out for 4 seconds while holding that for 4 seconds. So with this, I would like everyone to close their eyes if they'd like to, and slowly inhale through your nose. Try to inhale in an even, controlled manner, feeling the air enter your nose. And try to identify where your inhalation begins and where it ends. And then exhale all that air from your lungs while counting to 4. Okay, so is everyone ready? Okay, so breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. That was really relaxing for me. I don't know about you guys, but I really like doing that. I would like to do it just one more time. So breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. That was really great. All right, so it's always great to set aside time and designate a specific place where you can just sit comfortably without any distractions, and take time to just focus on your breathing and draw your attention all the way down to your toes, which may sound a little weird, but by focusing your attention on a specific part of your body, you're able to like work all that energy and attention to every part of your body, which helps you relax. So you may be asking yourselves, why does this work? Well, body scan meditations encourage self-awareness of sensations that we might otherwise be ignoring because of the amount of stress or other things that take up most of our time in our lives. And as for the health benefits, this type of meditation helps to reduce stress and decreases muscle tension and increases pain tolerance, interestingly. And with that, I will pass it on to our next speaker.
Jasmine, this is you.
Sorry, just one second. Okay, I'm gonna be talking about why mental health isn't talked about, specifically in the Latino community. I think that there is like a stigma that comes with just being in this community. I think mental health isn't really talked about, and sorry. Yeah. So does anyone know why mental health isn't talked about in our community? Okay, so for me personally, like in my family, I know that we've always been just taught to, I guess I'm not gonna say like bottle our emotions, but I guess that's the best way I could put it. It's that we were taught to just show only the good emotions that we feel, and I guess if you weren't feeling the best, you just kind of had to deal with that yourself. And that's what I've always been taught in my family, specifically, I guess, I think my entire family. And I know a lot of like my friends, we've like, I guess they've all grown up with that same thing where if you aren't feeling okay, you just kind of have to deal with it because it's not like something pretty. It's not like a good thing to show. And that's what I've grown up with. And I guess I went through that and I thought that that was normal. I really did think that was normal, but growing up, like as I got older, I knew that like it wasn't okay, and I did make friends and they taught me that it was okay to just not feel okay and actually ask for help because that is not something I had ever done. And like with therapy, I didn't ever think that that was an option for myself until I got into therapy and talking about things that I went through and just how I was feeling and just not feeling well and actually talking to my mom about it and my family. It's still something that we don't like to, and it's not something we ever feel comfortable talking about as much, but I don't know, I think that it's just a reason that we don't talk about it is because it's not a pretty thing. And yeah. And the cheddar said, I would say because we're always told to suck it up and move on. We're taught from a young age that crying and showing emotions is seen as weakness. I actually agree. I think that it was but I that's what I learned, that it was like showing weakness.
Awesome. Thank you. Natalia?
It was an accident, but I also agree with what everybody's saying. Specifically Madonna. I think that and I'm gonna speak for like the Latino community. When you were like depressed or sad, it kind of like once one thing told to be told to suck it up, but also like people don't believe in depression and like anxiety, like it's just kind of like a you're just going through it and get back on your feet type of thing. But it definitely is important to educate like our parents and generations before that.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. I think that's a really, really good point. And I definitely have also been a witness, of that. So transitioning in, what is mental health? Here's some quotes and some just legit not quotes, not logistics, but just some comments about like, this mental health includes, your emotional, psychological, and social well-being. It really does affect how we feel and act. And sorry, the chat, and how basically how we handle stress and how we make emotions. Um, I I definitely agree, with this conversation of why. So this presentation, it's called why. Oh my gosh, why am I forgetting the title? Why Latinos don't talk about mental health. And I think it's definitely, um, you can definitely see it. I think that it affects more than what we think, and they just don't, not they, but like not to generalize, but it's very stereotypical that they won't believe in like, this affecting. It's sort of like just pushing through, no emotions, don't show anything. It's this whole thing of like, what is, I saw in the comments in the chat, like, what is anxiety, what is depression? Like, I don't know that, or I don't want to know that. And there's just this negative stigma, as you see here, of like, when someone or something is viewed in a negative way, just because of, these characteristics. And it's just really just something that disrupts your mental state, and just sort of the way you perform as a whole. Next slide, please.
So I'm going to be talking about why mental health isn't talked about in the Latinx community. One of the reasons is because of the cultural stigma. Many Latinos do not seek treatment because they don't recognize the signs and symptoms of mental health conditions or know where to find the help. This lack of information also increases the stigma associated with mental health issues. Many Latinos do not seek treatment for fear of being labeled as locos or crazy or as having a mental health condition because this may cause shame. Another reason is access to health care. In 2017, 19% of people identified as Hispanic had no form of health insurance. Many undocumented people also fear being reported if they register for health care. Another reason is lack of representation. 1% of American Psychology Association identified themselves as Latino. Latino doctors are needed in the curb cultural and language gaps and may prevent some people from seeking the treatment they need. The last reason is our beliefs as Latinos. We are taught to believe that we are strong and resilient and that we don't need help because we have the capacity to do it ourselves.
Hello. So I'll be talking about why it is important to talk about mental health. And so, starting the conversation about mental health to our parents, our siblings, or family, or our friends, it can be hard. But by talking about it, we can make it part of our life and integrate it into our culture and our language. And by doing this, we can grow and learn so much about each other, about the things we are going through, and help others, such as our family or friends, to learn and grow as well. And so some questions, just to spark the conversation is, how did your day go? Or how are you feeling? Or, what do you think about mental health? Why do you think mental health is important to you? And so according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's, 10.5% of Latinas from ages 10 to 24 attempted suicide in the US. 7.3% of white females attempted suicide. 5.8% of Latinos attempted suicide, and 4.6% of white males attempted suicide. And so these numbers are very important because they tell us so much about the disproportionate amount of suicide along the Latinx community compared to our white counterparts. It also intersects with gender because females have a higher suicide rate than males. So as a community, we need to ask ourselves, why is the number higher for females? We need to think about the cultural stigma, the cultural beliefs, and talk about these things as a family, as friends, and as a community. And now, I'm not saying it will change overnight, but just starting that conversation is going to be a step closer to being able to really practice or really care about mental health. So as I mentioned, so only 20% of Latinx experience symptoms of psychological disorders and talk to a doctor, and only 10% talk to a mental health professional. So what happens to those 20% who don't talk to a doctor or don't talk to a mental health professional? I like to think of the analogy one of my colleagues mentioned or uses about a balloon. All those feelings we choose to ignore and that we choose to push down, are making the balloon bigger and bigger until one day the balloon inhales or inflates too much and it pops. And so that's what happens with our mental health. We push down our feelings. We choose to ignore those feelings. And so one day it's just too much for us and we just explode. So we need to create that change. If someone, comes up to you about their feelings, don't just ignore them or say, you'll get over it, or push them aside and say, it happens, just move on. We should we should support them and listen to them and offer resources, help find resources for them, find phone numbers or organizations. We need to ask ourselves, how can we help our family or friend who is going through these feelings and obstacles in their life, and not just ignore them. So I'll pass it on to Jasmine.
And before I actually go on with this slide, I just want to go ahead and say that we understand mental health and all the stuff that comes with it is not necessarily easy to talk about. So please, at any point, if you feel that you need to step away or anything, please do what you need to do to take care of yourself. We understand that we forgot to put a content warning. So if at any point, we're not going to be offended, do what's best for you. But yes, so I'm going to be talking about imposter syndrome. And when we're talking about mental health and we're talking about going into college, I think that it's a really important thing to talk about. And I know some of you are like, what is that? I've never heard of that. In college, you're going to hear your friends talk about it. But to put it simply, it's essentially when you doubt your abilities and you start feeling like a fraud. This affects a lot of people who are high achieving, and it's when they really can't, it's when they find it hard to accept their accomplishments. For example, if you get into a college that is a predominantly white campus and you take a look around, you don't see a lot of people, a lot of faculty, a lot of students who look like you start to feel like, how did I get here? Why am I here? And you start to invalidate yourself. Well, what that does, it starts to take a toll on your mental health. You start to feel inadequate. It could really mess with your mental health. It can lead to anxiety. Let's say, like, again, if you're at work and most of your colleagues are not from a diverse background, and you got a promotion and you start feeling inadequate, you might get a lot of anxiety going to like a meeting or going to class or anything. And as we all know, anxiety and a lot of other mental health issues and mental illnesses can lead into another one. So when you're not familiar with imposter syndrome, if you're not familiar with like, why am I feeling inadequate at this new surrounding I'm in, 9 times out of 10, it's most likely imposter syndrome. And believe it or not, even if you're not aware of it, it's actually very common in the United States. And around 70% of people experience imposter syndrome. And about 55% of them are people of color.
Okay. So what can we do to change our culture around mental health? So, things we can do is like offer your support to others while they struggle and recover, be open to conversations about mental health, and like take action, uh, learn about mental health, and just educate yourself and educate others with that too. And I think also just like tying it back and normalizing self-care in your own families, with yourself and with your families, and just being more open to talking about things in mental health, uh, using respectful language, just get rid of words like psycho, crazy, loca, just broadening your vocabulary and just being more inclusive with your words.
Thank you. So yeah, definitely stomping that stigma, it starts with you. And moving on, what is self-care? So we will be doing sorry, me. So any activity that we do deliberately in order to take care of our mental health, emotional, spiritual and physical health. Um, so what does self-care mean to you? And actually, I recently just learned about community care as well. I think we know we advocate for this whole self-care, but some people don't do good by themselves, you know? So self-care in a sense, or care within the self, can look as community health. You know, for example, for myself, I'm very extroverted, so my way of self-care is community care. Like, I love going to see my sorority sisters, or hanging out with my high school friends, or just going on drives with my family, you know? And here you can sort of see examples of the areas within. So there's physical, intellectual, social, and spiritual. Um, Physical, a lot of people love exercising. Definitely, you know, it's a good way to, you know, care for yourself, and also, I guess, to maintain health, you know, as well. Drinking a lot of water, getting a good night's sleep, those are really, really crucial, especially within your body. Intellectually wise, you know, just really challenge yourself, but it's okay, you know, it's okay if you don't meet up with the challenge. Just follow through with what you can, and just know that you're doing the best that you can. And give yourself space for your process. You know, journey within self-care, you know, it doesn't happen overnight. The way I like to see it is, you know, it can take time. Like, it really does. You have to, it's like playing around with it. What am I good at? What am I not? What helps me? What doesn't, you know? So it's the process within yourself, and learning, like, you know, um, what benefits me at the end of the day. Socially, like I mentioned, community care, um, just letting go of that negativity and really focusing on, you know, good people, just those good vibes, you know. You know, there's this common thing right now, like, you know, maybe those trends like, oh, love being toxic, but, you know, like, at the end of the day, really focus on you, and like, try to get, you know, that toxic out, and really just, you know, get involved with whatever makes you happy, your interests. um, as you see here from the presentations today, there was a lot of people involved with a lot of things, from, you know, mesa to, again, a lot of us are in a sorority, to even, you know, Latino service providers, which is also here in like being a youth promotora, and like what that entails as well. I'm pretty sure they have really good, you know, that's a good community. It's a good community within itself. And just having a lot of good connections. And then spiritually, we, you know, we saw that at the beginning when Gabriela led us through a grounding in exercise. Those are really, really good. Really take the time. I know at first it can feel awkward. I remember when I first started meditating, it was like, whoa, what am I doing? Or like, you know, why is it so quiet? I like to hear sound. But once you start hearing, I don't know, the birds, or just changing the scenery, not to put you on the spot, but Gabriela's outside today, surrounded by beautiful trees, and it's like, it's just stuff like that, that it's the little things that people might oversee, but if you really start to take a look at it, it might be, you know, make you feel motivated, empowered, and so on. So yeah, try practicing some community slash self-care whenever you can, and discover what works for you.
So we have an activity in using a Jamboard. So in the Jamboard, the link will be in the chat. I can post it. There we go. So in the chat, there's a link to a Jamboard, and you can type in any, you know, any kind of self-care practices that you do, you know, any affirmations. So, you know, positive statements, they're very important because by repeating them, and, you know, you start to believe them, and it starts to create this like chain of positivity within your day. So affirmations such as I am enough, or I am strong, I am capable. A motivational song, your favorite motivational song. We have an example. It's I Can Go the Distance by Hercules. It's a very good song. Favorite place to be in nature, you know, park, or, you know, a hiking trail that you take, things like those. Your favorite healthy snack, or any self-care tips that you follow or that you practice, or that even anything, any self-care practices that you want to start doing, or start practicing. So you can just write the, or You can either write those in the Jamboard link or in the chat through Zoom, or you can unmute yourself and you can say whatever you practice. So we have solo drives with loud music. Yes, I love that. We have in the chat, I am enough. Yes, you are. We all are. It's a good saying. Meditating, singing, positive affirmations, cry it out, baby. I love that. Another affirmation is you got this. Yes, you got this. Okay. Face masks in the chat. Yes, definitely. Treating yourself. I love that. I am smart. Yes, that's a good saying or a good affirmation. Dancing. I love dancing, but I'm not very good at it. So, I enjoy coffee runs. Yes, I love coffee. Think of how far you've come. Yes. You deserve all the positive things that are coming to you. These are all very good self-care practices that you guys all do, which is really awesome. We have more in the chat. I started doing therapeutic art and writing in my journal. Those are awesome. I just recently started writing in my journal. At first, I didn't think it was for me. I kept saying, writing. I'm not very good with writing my emotions. So we have salt bath, crafting, going to watch the sunset, talking circles. Definitely. I used to have talking circles in my high school. Tap dancing. That's fun. Talk to your friends and have brunch. Take your own advice. I write poetry to help cope with my emotions. Definitely. These are all very awesome. And so, just keep practicing these self-care activities that you're all doing, which is really awesome that you are. And maybe invite a friend or a family member to join you as well, or start that activity themselves as well. So I will pass it now on to my compañera Gabriela.
Hi again. So I would just like to take time to remind you guys that we will be having a survey at the end. So if you guys could please just take a few minutes to complete it, just to give us some insights. And that I think that will be put into the chat for you guys. And if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, anything you'd like to ask any of our wonderful presenters, feel free to either type them in the chat, or you can just say them if you would like to unmute yourself.
Yeah, thank you all. Does anyone have any questions that y'all may have? I know we're approaching the end. I do see the chat. I do see the survey in the chat. So please, 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 if everyone can fill it out, give us input, save the link. We would greatly appreciate it. Another thing before everyone does leave is, yes, thank you, Stephanie. The resource fair is open to everyone. There's a lot of great resources. It'll be this Thursday, and let me just double check the time because I don't know why I'm blanking on it right now. The time for the resource fair will be at 6 p.m. If anyone's interested, that is a Zoom link. You will also get it in your email. So yes, please, the survey and the flyer and the link for that is there, but again, you'll get it in the email. I did want to take first a picture. Whoever's comfortable with being on screen, if you're not, feel free to turn off your camera.